Hello guys, welcome back to the Team Hemp channel. Today I'm bringing you my Overdress Maelstrom deck profile to the channel. I know if you all follow Commander Jaime, he also has a video regarding Maelstrom, some Overdress decks, some premium decks as well. So go give that a check out. I'll have the link down on the description below. But I just wanted to show the deck list that I decided to go with. And it's actually been working pretty well for me. I entered 2 local tournaments this past weekend, went undefeated on a Friday, and then made top 8 on a Saturday. So just wanted to give you guys the deck list I'm working with. But without further ado, we'll get started. This is the right line for Maelstrom right here. I have my SP starter right here. Thankfully, this deck doesn't really care about what starter you run, so I wanted to go with the pretty one. Then we have the Theo, the Algos, and then the Maelstrom himself. I only run one of each of these guys. I don't really run them in the main deck, just use them for the ride line effects. And basically when he's rode upon, I can search for the Blue Storm Armada order. When he's rode upon, I can search top 7 for an Aqua Force only clan unit. So any unit that has that little symbol there in the corner, or a Tear Dragon. So for those who know, Mr. Inlet is a Tear Dragon, so we usually search for that. And then we have our Maelstrom boy right here, the main boss. And yeah, that's the ride line that I used. And if you're playing Maelstrom, it's most likely the same ride you'll use. I know some people have tried alternating this grade 1, change it up here and there, but this has been pretty solid for me. And then we'll start with the bosses. Obviously, because it's a Maelstrom deck, we run 3 extra copies of the Maelstrom just to guarantee that Persona ride when we can. In case you don't know what Maelstrom does, you can act once per turn, discard a card, choose an Aqua Force or Tear Dragon card from your soul, call it to rear, and give it the red text that when it attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and it's the first attack, you can counterblast 1 to stand it. And then at the end of the turn, the unit you called out with this effect goes into soul. So usually when I do this effect, I do it to call out the inlet. Never really called out anything else with this skill. So definitely a very good unit. His other skill is when he attacks a Vanguard, if it's the 4th battle of that turn or more, you can draw a card and then choose an opponent's rear guard and retire it. I'm more of a fan of Flagberg myself. I prefer the guard restrict and retiring 2 on top of the drawing. So if I had to choose between Maelstrom and Flagberg, I prefer Flagberg for the most part, but definitely Maelstrom isn't something to just scoff at either. If you're not ready, if you're not careful for the onslaught of the Aqua Force units in Overdress with this deck, it can catch you by surprise. I know a few of my opponents that I ran into, they weren't really familiar with how Aqua Force worked in Overdress, so I was able to catch them off guard with the amount of attacks I can do, the amount of hand I can generate, surprisingly. So just to throw that out there, guys. It's definitely a good deck to try on Overdress, for sure. And then this was the Blue Storm Armada card that I mentioned with Theo. Basically, it's a order that you can only play it once you're a grade 3. Your Vanguard has to be Maelstrom, so you have to be on this guy to be able to activate it. It allows you to call a unit from the drop zone that's Aqua Force or a Tear Dragon to the field. So it's basically like a free resurrection instead of the grade 1 order that Slokeia usually has, where you have to Soul Blast 1 to call it out. And then it also allows you to choose a rear guard and give it 5k for every other copy in the order zone. So the first one you play, you don't get to give +5, but every other subsequent one you play, you can give +5 to a rear guard. Or like say I had 2 already and I played this, I can give 10k to a rear guard. So it's pretty nice. I liked it. I didn't like it as a 4-of. Definitely clogged my hand, and I wanted to make room for another order, aka this little thing right here, Chalice. So 3's been working for me. I like it. I know some people have cut it down to 2. Some people have even cut it down to 1 just to get the guarantee search with Theo, and that's it. Not a fan of that. Prefer to have the 3 for sure. And then of course we have the inlets. We run the 4 inlets. Working on trying to get the 4th one, guys. I'm trying my best to find a good deal for it, but the search continues. So we don't really use him for the first skill. That's only for Flagberg. We mainly use him for the second, which if you did 4 more attacks this turn, you can go to soul to draw. So he keeps putting himself into the soul to draw. So that's why he's always like the main target for Maelstrom. To call him out, be able to get that first attack, and then at the end of the turn, I can put him to soul to draw before Maelstrom forces him to go into soul. So definitely a 4 of. I wouldn't run him less than 4. He's just too key of a card. And then, of course, as you saw, we played the 1 Chalice. You can only activate 1 per game, so that's why we only run the 1, just to give us that 4th Persona Ride in case we don't have a Maelstrom in hand. And for the grade 2s, run 4 Tidal Assaults. For those of the OGs, they know who Tidal Assault is. Main Alpha Force unit of the clan. It allows you to do your extra attacks that you need to do to get to that 4th Battle War for Maelstrom. He also can power up Maelstrom every time he swings, as long as you Soul Blast 1. So for him to restand though, you have to have a standing Vanguard named Maelstrom, so before Maelstrom attacks. And he has to be the 2nd attack, so you can counterblast 1 to stand. So just keep that in mind when playing him. And then I run 2 of this guy. This guy actually came in handy in most of my games. Which, by the way, for both tournaments, they were 5 rounds each. So the first one I went 5-0, and then the second one I went 3-2. So, and then every round, I try to open with one of these, so that way my first grade 3 turn, I can just go call, sack it, give 10k to a rear guard. It was usually to target him, so that way he can swing 20, restand, swing 20, or 28 if I give him a booster. So this was the main target for this guy, and it worked out. Did exactly what he needed to do. And then for grade 1s, obviously we run the 4 PGs, we run the 3 regular ones, and then the 1 Blitz Order one. In the event I fight guard restrict decks, I'd rather have this than have the 4th one of this. It really hasn't hurt me too much running the 3 and the 1. I know some people have just cut this all together just to run the 4, but I personally prefer having the 1 as that safety net for sure. You all already know how I am. Options, we like options. And then we run 4 Wheel Assault. He's another enabler for multi-attacks. Basically, at the end of the battle, he boosted. If your Vanguard's Maelstrom, which it will be, you Soul Blast 1, choose 2 of your rear guards, and swap their positions. So fun fact with this card, I always put my line of plays, I always put him behind Tidal Assault, and then have my other column set up for the swap. Also, I like how they gave him the same effect from V, just put a condition and a cost on it. But he basically does the same thing in V. After he boosted, you switch 2 rear guards. So definitely enables you to do the 5th attack. In some cases, maybe the 6th attack, because you can keep swapping. But just depends how your board setup is. But definitely a 4 of. He is a main card you want to see. And then another grade 1 I ran as a 4 of is the Prize Trident. Now, honestly, I can cut this guy out. There was only a handful of times where I wanted to see him on the field. But most of the time, he was pitch fodder. He was just an AK booster that just stayed on the field. If I were to cut him out for other units, I'm not really 100% sure what I'd cut him out for. I would have to do some more research or relook at Commander Jaime's video just to get some more ideas. But if nothing else, at least 2 of them. You know, just in case you do need that counterblast in the event your opponent is damage denying you. Because you need the counterblast in this deck for your restanders. So as you saw with Maelstrom's effect, you counterblast 1 if it's the 1st attack with the red text, and then with Tidal Assault, he is the 2nd attack. You have to counterblast 1 to restand. There you go. So you guys can read it. So definitely keep that in mind. That's why I ran him as a 4 so that way I don't run into damage denial, but honestly, it didn't really happen for me. And then the 1 spicy tech of the Kusi. So this card is the MVP for sure. Every single round, even though he's a 1 of, because of how much drawing and deck filter you do with this deck, I was able to see him. And then it was especially great when I was able to mulligan and drew into the 1, so I could just pressure early on with him. So on my grade 1 ride, if I went 2nd, call him, swing 23. Grade 2 ride, swing 25. First grade 3 ride, no Persona ride, already swinging 28. So The same as for anyone who's been following the channel, you know in my old Flyberg deck list, I always ran the 1 Kusi as well. Love this guy. This guy facilitates the same thing for Maelstrom that he did for Flagberg. No persona ride, no problem. We still swing big numbers. So, and then another thing that Maelstrom allows you to do, because of Wheel Assault existing, is you can put him behind the Vanguard not boost, and then Wheel Assault will swap him with another rear. So he's a 15k attacker or a booster, depending how your field is. But definitely recommend running the Kusi, guys. It's worth it, I promise. But only as a 1. Don't do more than 1. That's because, as you know, no show value. So just the 1, guys. Then to round it up for the triggers, we run the 7 crits. I was thinking about doing 8 crits, but I focused more on having the 4 draws because it is a combo piece reliant deck. So you want to see your pieces ASAP. So definitely run 4 draws. You can get away with maybe even running 5 draws and 6 crits. But then you will lead to deck out. I did lose 1 game because of deck out. I drew too many cards. So depends how you want to do it. Also not a fan of front triggers in this deck. After playing with it in the 2 tournaments I did, every time I hit a crit, it felt much better than hitting a front. Just gave more pressure on my opponent. So definitely keeping the crits the way they are and not running fronts. And then, of course, we run the 4 heals. I don't run any effect heals. There's just not enough decks running around, at least locally for me, to warrant running any of the effect heals right now. So I'm sticking with the 4. And then the 1 OT Blessed Favor because why not? Alright, so yeah, that is my Maelstrom Overdress deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, check out Commander Jaime's video on the Maelstrom decks that he went over to get some more ideas. But for sure, this deck list has very much performed for me. And so I am now becoming more and more a fan of Maelstrom and Overdress. But you can't beat the boy. Best boy. Best boy. Like, I understand Maelstrom's cool. I mean, come on, man. Look how cool he is. Flyberg is so much better, for sure. Not biased, I promise. But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, comment on what you think. And we are definitely working on more premium videos to be coming out. But I did really well with this deck, and I just wanted to show you guys, you know, another version of the deck you can build for Overdress. That's worked. So yeah, until next time.